Hey everyone, today I will present to you with Hey everyone, my name is Kholik and my student number is 522. And today I will explain about how we develop English material for the students. Um, there are main things that use in here. The first one is like creating, the second one is designing, the third one is adapting, and the fourth one is evaluating. The first one we move is selecting and create. Definition is course material and distributable tools that must correspond to teaching program aims and learner needs. The core theory, good language learning depends on aptitude, motivation, and opportunity, which includes access to proper teaching material. The focus, selecting, and sequencing should be based on student background knowledge and the objective of the academic program to achieve congruence. The first step in here is selecting grading. It means that you have to choose the teaching material that match with your students need to learn. Once you select material, you need to grade. Means you organize it goes from the easiest to hardest one. You cannot teach them for the hardest like perfect continuous in grammar class, but you have to choose the easiest part like a simple present. So uh, they don't confuse or they more comfortable to understand. Method and result. Method. A questionnaire and semi-structured interview were conducted with 15 teachers at National University and data was analyzed using Excel and SPSS. The result, the study found that material were not appropriately selected and graded, failing to meet the students' academic needs. Key finding, 92% of respondents noted inconsistencies of the material because they fail to cater to short-term and long-term learning outcomes. Need analysis is highly recommended for selection. To prove why it's important, a study was done at National University with 15 teachers. The result was clear. The material were not selected or created properly. Almost all in here, 92% of teachers say that books fail because they didn't match what the students actually needed to achieve. This shows why we must understand our student need before picking a book. Second step is designing. The definition is designing materials allows teacher to contextualize lesson for the specific educational setting, overcoming the weaknesses of commercial one-size-fits-all textbook. Further, the development process often follows the AD model. AD stands for analysis, design, development, implementation, evaluation, and usually involves material writing phases. In here, we have pedagogical strategy. Effective design often integrates local content, and the PPP stands for presentation, practice, production, instruction, model. Method and oh, before I continue, I will give you an example for this one. The second step is designing. Sometimes the standard textbook you buy from store just don't work for a specific classroom. When that happens, teachers design their own material to fit the local culture and the student's actual level. Example like, let's say you are teaching reading class here in Surakarta. The standard textbook only has reading passage about winter in Europe, which the student can relate to. So you design your own reading worksheet about the local batik industry. This makes the lesson much easier for them to understand. Method and result. In here, we have method. Research and development R&D method was applied. The study involved 310 grade students and 3 English teachers, utilizing need analysis questionnaires. Result. Existing commercial books were mismatched with student comprehension and the target curriculum. The key finding, the newly designed course book was successful. Its clear content framework, appropriate language, and local contextualization help students comprehend the material better. And the third one we have adapting. The definition is adaptation is the process of readjusting, editing, deleting, changing, and supplementing existing material to better suit learners. The core theory, it bridges the gap between what the classroom demands and what the textbook offers. Example, matching learner characteristic with textbook topic. And here we have engagement. Adapted materials should be culturally relevant and relate to students' daily lives to boost motivation and provide meaningful learning experience. The third step in here is adapting. This is when you use an existing textbook, but you change part of it to make it better. You may add things, delete boring parts, or simplify hard instruction so it fits your classroom perfectly. In here we have method and result. Method, a qualitative descriptive case study involving a senior high school teacher in Banda Aceh. Data was gathered via document analysis, classroom observation, video tape, and semi-structured interview. The result, the teacher actively modified tasks to focus on familiar real-life context and supplemented textbook with internet sources and videos. Key finding, this adaptation successfully facilitated learning by catering to different learning styles, boosting cognitive involvement, and keeping students secure and comfortable. A student in Banda Aceh looked at high school teacher who adapted material in her classroom. The research in here showed that the teacher constantly changed the textbook tasks to match real life situation her students knew. Because of this adaptation, the student felt more secure, they engaged and learned much faster. The last but not least is evaluating the definition. Evaluation assesses the pedagogical value and the effectiveness of textbooks, which serve as the principal pillar of language input. Core theory. Evaluating cultural content involves looking at delivery guidelines, cultural presentation, stereotyping, and the clarity of illustration based on Kilkaya framework. Focus. A good evaluation ensures that materials not only present language but also teachable cultural aspect. In evaluating, after you use textbook for a while, you have to look back and ask, did this actually work? You check if the cultural information was accurate, if the picture were helpful, and if it actually taught the student anything useful. I will give the example. After using a textbook for a whole semester, you evaluate it. You realize that the book's illustrations were really confusing and it stereotyped certain cultures. Because of this evaluation, you decide the book is not effective and you need to find better one for next year or for the next semester. Okay. Here we have method and result. Method. A mixed method approach was used, distributing an online questionnaire and conducting semi-structured interview with 68 public senior high school EFL teachers in Indonesia. Result, the evaluated textbook, Buku Bahasa Inggris, was found to be highly Indonesian centric but suffered from a low load of cultural information overall. Key finding, teacher reported that the textbook lacked clear guidelines for teaching culture and future and realistic illustration. They recommended adding more international cultures and better visual aids. In here, in Indonesia, study found as 68 teachers to evaluate a government textbook called Buku Bahasa Inggris. The results show that the book didn't teach enough about different cultures. The teacher reported that the book had a realistic cartoon drawing and no clear guideline on how we teach the cultural parts. They recommended that the future book include more international cultures and better pictures. The conclusion: to wrap it up, selecting and grading in here makes you sure pick the right book and squeeze it logically. Designing is when you create your own local materials from scratch. Adapting is when you tweak an existing book to make it fit your class. Folding is checking if the material actually works so you can improve next time. Selecting and grading ensure the baseline material matches student level and curriculum goals. Design and build target localized research when commercial option fails. Adapting empowers teachers to tweak and supplement material for dynamic real-world classroom need. Folding provides critical feedback to continually improve the pedagogical and cultural value of the research use. That's for me. Thank you. Bye-bye.